The judge at my Article 32 ruled that the two charges, the little girl and the old man, should not go to court martial. He was like, and he even said, he's like, there's not enough evidence here. This is all off hearsay. Little did I know that that judge really has no control of what goes to court martial. The command, Commodore Rosenblum, overturned the judge's ruling and was like, no, you keep those charges on there.
Holy shit.
So my own command was like, even though there's no evidence here, just keep them on there.
Going back to the old man and the girl, so was that just hearsay? Because I couldn't find a whole lot of
So this
information.
This is what happened with the old man and the girl. And you got to like bear with me on this because it sounds as stupid as it sounds. Josh Brenz, during his NCIS interview, told Agent Warpinski that he had seen a little girl get shot, which we all saw, kids get shot at deployment, and that he thought ISIS had done it, but now he thinks that I did it. And so Agent Warpinski was like, well, did you see him do it? And he's like, no, I wasn't in the same building as him, but so-and-so, another guy in my platoon, told me he saw Eddie do it. And so they called that person in, and that person's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I never said that once, and I never saw Eddie shoot any little kids. So what they did is they took so-and-so's testimony and just hit it. And they were like, just gave him Josh Brenz's.
Straight up
hit it.
Didn't fit the agenda.
Nope. And they did. That's the common theme throughout my whole thing is they hit every piece of evidence that would have been like, this is all bullshit. They just, if it didn't fit their agenda or the prosecution, they just tried to bury it somewhere. So that the little girl got thrown on. Oh, this is the other thing that's just going to blow your mind. So it was the old man has some truth to it. But look, a guy from my platoon came and testified at my trial and was like, I was with him, and that was an actual shithead that he shot, not an old man. And it was a justified shooting. And he even said he had an argument afterwards with one of the accusers that day when that accuser tried to be like, oh, I think that guy was unarmed. And he was like, no, he was armed. I was there with him, watched the whole thing. And that's, got pretty much thrown out. But the judge at my Article 32 ruled that the two murder charges, the little girl and the old man, should not go to court martial. He was like, and he even said, he's like, there's not enough evidence here. This is all off hearsay. Little did I know that that judge really has no control of what goes to court martial. The command, Commodore Rosenblum, overturned the judge's ruling and was like, no, you keep those charges on there.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So my own command was like, even though there's no evidence here, just keep them on there. And so that's how I went to court martial with those three murder charges.
Now, are these videos of these guys, their interviews with NCIS, are these the same ones that the New York Times got their hands on?
Yeah, but they spliced them up.
How did they get their hands on those?
Because...
I mean, it sounds like it's, such a sensitive investigation. Mm-hmm. So who the fuck released that to the New York Times?
The prosecution and Warcom.
Why did they do that?
To paint me in a bad light, to help win over. I mean, for exactly the reason that we're here talking about it.
So this doesn't fucking make sense to me, because you have what sounds like almost an entire fucking community saying that you're guilty of murdering an ISIS fighter, which makes no fucking sense to me. And a little girl and an old man, and then a whole list of, basic misdemeanor bullshit charges. It sounds like. I don't understand and you say that they were coming at you hard because they wanted to protect the institution.
Yeah.
So they wanted to protect the institution, but yet they leak the fucking videos to the New York Times, which
because
now the entire fucking world knows.
Yeah, because at that time, so they didn't leak all that information out at first. It wasn't until my wife started really fighting back and getting a bunch of people, behind us, that now I think the command felt like, okay, we're losing this battle. Let's pull this number right here. And the prosecution was leaking stuff to the media from the get-go. We tried to call them out on it 2 to 3 times during our motions hearings. Like it was so blatant and so bad that the media was putting out evidence or like before we even got it.
No shit.
Yeah. So we would be like, how is it that this is being printed in the newspaper last night and we haven't gotten this evidence yet? And this is how they investigate things in the judicial system there with the military. The judge will be like, okay, yeah, that is disheartening to hear that this is happening. Prosecution, we want you to look into this and see who's doing it. Prosecution comes back the next day like, we looked into it. We don't know who's doing it. It's not us. And that's it.
That's like, it?
Move on. Yeah. And so that was happening over and over. They, they leaked everything to do exactly what was done, to slander me in the media, because it'll drive, when they go to the court martial, the jury will be tainted already. Yeah. And everyone's going to have a preconceived notion, that I'm guilty, and that just helps them win their case. So yeah, I mean, that was going on pretty much the whole time. But I'm locked up. I'm not seeing any of these crazy articles that are coming out. I'm just hearing about them from my brother or my wife over the phone, or like people that came and visited me would say, there's pretty shitty articles coming out about you, and it's not good.
Yeah.
I had no idea like what really was being said. But yeah, you got to think too, man. Like they added those, so they didn't have the old man and the woman on there at first.
Okay.
But they had the NCIS interviews where all that shit was said. They added those two on because they were getting the same reaction out of everybody that you just gave. Like, he murdered an ISIS fighter. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're not winning people over like that. What are the two most, controversial things we can get him? He murdered an old man, and this is the best thing. I murdered an old man on Father's Day. That's what they were putting out. It was Father's Day when I murdered this old man, and then I murdered a little girl. That right there drives some emotion. I mean, even if I heard like somebody kill a little kid, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? That's messed up. So they knew like that would drive people to be like, this dude is a monster. This dude is crazy. And it just went from there. And they just continued to smear me. Every chance they got, and it was all just like false misinformation that was being put out. I try to explain it to people. Like, my case is sort of like, almost like a false rape case, to where it's like a girl comes in and is like, oh, I got raped last night. And when really she just had sex with a dude that made a mistake. That dude is screwed no matter what. Just that one allegation is like, even if he's found innocent at the end.
I mean, it sounds like throughout NSW, throughout the entire community, I've heard you say that, they were counseling guys for wearing
the Free Eddie
shirts. Anybody that talked about it was going to get counseled. I mean, it was an active campaign.
Big time. They had nothing, and they were just actively trying to screw me. And this is where this is the other crazy thing, is the Commodore went around to each team while I was locked up and had all calls with every SEAL at each command. And I was told this by multiple SEALs from each team. It's the same speech he gave, that I was guilty, that nobody should better support me. Nobody should support me. And this is the worst. This is the kicker, that he'd seen the video of me doing said act and that it showed I was guilty.
No shit.
He said that to each command. So now you got to think, man, like, I mean, that's not only is that unlawful command influence, but you are straight lying to everybody. And, there was this video, the rumor of the video was what really made everybody question, like, oh, is there a video? Like, does it show it? No, there was no.
This is the video where
I come up and I
just
pull my
roll the
med bag
guy
open.
over.
That's it. Like, that's the only video. But he lied. So that video was not allowed to be shown to anybody at the time because it was part of evidence, right?
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.